Hey guys, it's Tiffany. I am deciding to do something very special. I hadn't done it, and I've been inspired to. You see, I am expecting... Okay, my husband and I are expecting baby number 2. And, we're both very excited. We will be expecting little one in February, and yeah, it's been about 5 years since my daughter was born, actually a little over 5 years, and I thought long and hard before I decided I was going to be ready for another one, because I used to want 6 kids, and then I had my daughter, and I was just like, girl, you're crazy. So, so after this, my husband and I both decided we don't want any more kids, so I will be having surgery of tubal ligation to take care of that, because I don't think I could handle any more kids. Not that I don't love my daughter, it's just, after I had one, I thought it was a lot, so, and also, it's a financial thing, too. Like, kids are expensive. Like, if you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's just like, whoa. Anyway, so I've decided I want to tell my birth story from my daughter. And, a little bit of backstory. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of detail. There was just some drama with her biological father. Mostly his family, and he didn't stand up for me, and so I was like, fine, I'll do it by myself. I don't even really care anymore, and it wasn't a good situation. So, and I was in Colorado, and I lived in Colorado for a year, and that's where I met her father, and just things didn't work out the way, we wanted them to. I was basically treated like crap. It did some damage. Still cleaning it up. But I'll get there. It's, it doesn't make me love my daughter any less. I don't hate them. I've forgiven them. But the abuse was still there. It wasn't physical, it's mental and emotional. That's as far as I'm gonna go into it, because that's a whole nother story, and if you want to hear it, let me know. Don't really care about telling a story. It's just really long, and we're not here for that. So with all the drama, I decided to come back home to Amarillo with my parents so that I would have some sort of support system. I was living with my aunt, and I was there to help her a little bit, but there was some complications with that would have been made it harder on her, and I just didn't want to do that to her. She was I love her. She is one of the greatest people ever, and we agreed that it was just not gonna suit. So, and that's okay. I understand. She had her own kids to take care of. She didn't need to be taking care of me and another kid. yeah, it was just, it would have been harder on her than what we were doing, because I was actually there trying to help her with her kids, and it was just not an ideal situation for either of us. And she said that, and I totally respect that of her, and I love her for it, because she was totally right. I needed my mom. Also, before I get into this, it is going to be graphic. Childbirth is graphic. If you don't like it, don't watch this. I'm going to post a warning too, because childbirth is graphic and interesting and beautiful, but it's not glamorous. Okay, it's not like unicorns and glitzy pretty stuff. Beautiful. It's raw and natural, and just, it's like you have a tree, and then you have artwork on a piece of paper. Artwork on a piece of paper is beautiful, well, you know, depending on what your style is, and a tree is raw, natural, and beautiful. That's the difference. I don't know. It's gonna be graphic. So, after I moved back down here, it was about 3 months before, and I did get a doctor's approval to travel. It was about 3 months before my daughter was supposed to be here. She was born June 17th. She was due on June 22nd. And, she's now a happy, healthy 5-year-old, driving me nuts. And I love her. She's the greatest thing ever. But the thing is, this birth story is going to be kind of long. But it started out, like, after about 3 months, you know, my mom decided to take me to the hospital, I think on June 14th or 15th. I don't know. I was in the hospital for a while. Like, I had, like, the standard 3 days of care, but I was also there, like, an extra day or so. Yeah, I think it was, like, total of 4.5 days. I'm not totally sure, but that's what I'm gonna say. I had been having trouble with my blood pressure, and I was just really not feeling good. My mom could tell. She's just like, "Mom, Tiffany, I'm really scared for you. You need to go to the hospital." I'm like, "Mom, it'll be fine. I'm not due for another few days." And she's like, "Well, you need to go, you know?" And so I was like, "Okay, I'll go." And so we went to the hospital, and they discussed it, and they're like, "Oh, well, we're gonna keep you, and we're going to be inducing you." So I was like, "All right." They're like, "Because of your blood pressure." I'm like, "Okay." And I had pregnancy-induced hypertension, preeclampsia. I don't know if they're the same thing or what, but that's why they induced me. I wanted to wait. I wanted to do everything natural, which we'll get into that, because that did not happen. With this one, I'm hoping it does, but with her, it did not happen, even though I wanted it that way. But, my goodness. My story. So, you know, I get into the hospital room, and they take me to a labor room, and so, or a delivery room, and so they keep me there for a little while, and the doctor comes in and says, "Oh, we're going to induce you." And mind you, I haven't had lunch yet. And I was hungry, and I wish I had have had lunch, because you'll see in the story. Because for some reason they think this. Oh, okay. We'll just get into it. For some reason, they wouldn't let me eat. Anyway, like, they're like, oh, well, you don't need to eat just in case you do go into labor. I'm like, I don't think I'm going into labor today. And I was right. You know, they could have let me eat something. So, anyway, the first thing that they told me they were going to do was they were going to take this little pill. And they were going to... It was a pill to try to start getting my cervix to do what it's supposed to do. I am going to be using the word cervix a lot, by the way. And so, like I said, and I'm going to be describing detail and showing you things. Like, well, I'm going to be showing you, like, you know, like making like a device, like, okay, there's a device I use that I'm going to show you with using my fingers. It's not anything bad, I promise. I'm not going to show you like pictures of hoo-haws or anything. Like, that's not what I'm about. But they took this pill and they put it up against my cervix because they were trying to get me to dilate. Well, that didn't work the way they wanted it to. But why wouldn't it? Would it? Because, you know, I wasn't even in labor. I wasn't even, like, trying to have the baby yet. So, you know, I don't even think she had dropped yet. I'm not totally sure, but if she did, I wasn't sure. Anyway. So then they're like, oh, okay, well, then we're going to try this. And, like, it was, like, IV medications and creams and just all kinds of different things that they were trying to do to get me to dilate and efface. Well, when those didn't work, they decided they were going to do this thing with the balloon. Now, before they did with the thing with the balloon, remember I told you I was hungry, and I kept asking them when I could eat because I had not eaten since breakfast, like the day before, or that morning. Like, I hadn't even eaten lunch. I was about to eat lunch, and Mom was like, well, let's go to the hospital. And she's like, well, do you want to eat first? I'm like, no, I just don't feel good. I want to go. That was stupid. I was hungry. Anyway, it was probably about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. I told my sister, I'm like, these people are going to starve me. You know what my sister did? She went to the cafeteria and she snuck me some food so that I could eat. She's like, you're going to pass out on these doctors because they ain't letting you eat. I'm like, I know, right? I'm like, if I can't eat, I won't have the strength to have a baby. Hello. Anyway, so she snuck me some food in, and I had something to eat because I was hungry, like, and my sister's like, I'm not gonna put up with this. Like, you keep getting told about the doctors, yes, you can eat, and the nurse is like, oh, well, let me double check with the doctor. I'm like, they don't believe you, apparently. Like, when you tell them, no, the doctor said I could eat, they don't believe you. They have to go double check. But then they never come back and tell you whether or not what the doctor said. It was horrible. And so, like, I had headaches because I was so hungry. So, after I had eaten, they decided to do this balloon thing, okay? And this is what I told you I was going to show you. What it is it looks kind of like a catheter with 2 tubes sticking out. I think it might even actually be a catheter. I don't know. So, and how it works, it's like a torture device, honestly. It hurts so bad. Here it is. Okay, there's a balloon on this up here, and there's a balloon up here, and then they stick it between the cervix, like, okay, and this balloon gets filled up with water, and this balloon gets filled up with water slowly. Like, they do it 3 or 4 times. They put water in this balloon. Anyway, slowly expanding and dilating and effacing your cervix so that they can make sure you are at least 4 centimeters dilated. And let me tell you, it worked. It actually hurt to the point where when I told you I wanted to do everything all natural, I needed sleep. They told me, they're like, you're going to need some sleep because then you will be too tired to have the baby. And they were right. I mean, but I cried and I called my mom. I was like, it hurt so bad. And like, the nurse had come in to check on me and she was like, I've had that done. I know that hurts. I'll be right back. She went and she got me some like painkillers, and I'm telling you, I was on cloud 9. I passed out. It was great. Like, I slept. They, of course, that wasn't without them coming in every few hours to wake me up to do something. One of them was expand the balloon. Check the balloon, blah, 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 blah. Anyway. Sorry, my cat is like wanting lovin's at the same time I'm trying to do this. Anyway. Stop it. You need to stop. You're right, just fine, right there. Anyway. So, morning time comes around, and, I'm 4 centimeters dilated, so they take the balloon and pull it out, and everything's looking good. Mind you, I could still get up and go to the bathroom every few minutes. And then they broke my water, or they gave me oxytocin. I'm not sure which one came first. But I know they broke my water at some point after this. Which, that didn't hurt. Some people say it hurts, and it didn't hurt me. I expected it to hurt. It didn't hurt. I didn't feel anything. All I felt was kind of, it felt kind of like a balloon being popped, honestly. Like, it didn't hurt at all, and, after they broke my water, I was like, I had oxytocin pumping through me, which is the hormone to progress birth, and so they did that, and like I said, I was gonna go all natural with everything and do the best I could, and let me tell you, my blood pressure was already fairly high. I mean, it wasn't scary or anything, but it was like enough for them to be like, we're gonna have this baby, see if this helps. And so, I wanted to do all natural. Well, when it came down to it and I started having contractions, at first everything was okay. And let me tell you, the contractions really didn't bother me. Like, it didn't, like, they hurt, but it wasn't, like, mentally, it didn't hurt as bad as what my blood pressure was saying. So, moving on. I had already signed the paperwork for an epidural for, just in case, like, they needed to do, like, an emergency C-section, whatever, because that happens, especially with them inducing. And so, I wanted to make sure that we had everything, all the ducks in a row, just in case, we had to have our ducks in a row. Not a bad thing. And for all you mamas that did it naturally, you are awesome. Just saying. For me, I wanted to so bad, and I was so heartbroken that I didn't do it, but there's reasons I didn't do it, and I'm going to get into that. So we finally got into, I was there for a few hours, and then somebody came to check on me, and it was another nurse. There were so many people in and out of there, I cannot remember everyone's name. I do remember the main nurse, though, that stayed with me. I remember her face. I don't remember her name. I remember her face. And mind you, I didn't have birthing classes or anything. She told me that I did an amazing job, and she was extremely impressed. It's like, okay. Anyway, she talked me through it, but the nurse that I saw, I was like, yeah, she was checking my IVs or something, and I was like, I feel like I need to push, and she's like, oh, well, I don't think it's time for you to push yet. Sure enough, I was ready to push. It was time to start having this baby. Anyway, that's when and then, I started having the big contractions. And like I said, like, they didn't hurt that bad. And it's not the pain that drove me to have an epidural. What drove me to have the epidural was, with each contraction, like each contraction getting bigger, the higher my blood pressure went. And I don't know if it's because of the strain that it was putting on my body. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if it hadn't been for having high blood pressure in the beginning, I would have been okay. I would have been just fine. Yeah, it hurt, but it didn't hurt as bad as, I thought it would. And so and I thought I could do it. And then, like, my blood pressure shot up to stroke levels. Like, it was a concern. And so I made the decision to go ahead and have the epidural for the safety of myself and my baby. It was totally, it was totally because I was more concerned about having a stroke or my baby going into distress than I was the fact that it hurt. Because, like I said, it didn't really hurt that bad. Like, the pushing hurt worse, and I had an epidural, so, like, I mean, it was just, it was crazy. And it's not like I didn't try. I tried to put it off as long as possible, but I was told if I put it off anymore that I wouldn't be able to have the epidural. And also by that point, I was already thinking about it anyway because of how high the blood pressure was. So after the epidural, it probably took me about, well, let's just say the nurse didn't think that she was going to be there still whenever I popped my daughter out. And because they expected birth for me to take forever, and it didn't. It was like that. I mean, it was pretty fast after they got everything going, which I was really grateful for. And let me tell you, I didn't eat anything that day until after the baby was born. Anyway, so yeah, this is kind of a long video, but it's fun. About at 4:30 in the afternoon was born a beautiful baby girl, and healthy, happy, and I was just so happy because even though I had been in there with all these people in the room, and I'll tell you it was a lot of people, they left us alone for a few minutes, and I was so grateful because I needed the quiet, and I wanted time, and it was great because they gave me time with my baby. And they normally take them right away, but I asked if I could hold her and just love on her because of what I'd just been through. It was awesome. But anyway, right after she was out, my sister got pictures. She was in the birth canal too long, and her head kind of looked like Goofy's head. And my mom was freaked out about it, and they're like, "Oh, it's normal. It'll be fine. It'll go back to a different shape here in just a little while." And she's like, "Okay." But it did freak my mom out. Um, but after a little while, it was time for me to go to another room so they could get that room ready for another lady that's having a baby. And right after I had her, though, the nurse went and got me a Pepsi. I took a sip of that, and apparently my body was still having some issues, and I just tossed my cookies everywhere. Like, it was, and so it was just like, okay. And it was a Pepsi, and it was good, but and I like Pepsi. It's not that, it's just when you're having a baby, your body just reacts that way. So that's what happened. That's my birth story. After I went to the room, everything settled down, and it was great. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think I could have made it without my nurse or my doctor. Both of them were, or actually any of the medical professionals, really. Everybody was so great, and it was the best thing ever. Hope you enjoyed this story. You have a great day. God bless.